Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director, here with Mr. Tate Matthews as always. Tate, regional and sectional tournaments, we're right in the midst of it. Williamson County Spring Fling, which I would argue in a lot of ways is better than
Spring Fling?
except there's more on the line, right? I mean, you get to the Big Daddy, I mean, it's you're playing for state titles. Although I would say some of these, they're kind of determining the state champion.
Yes, without a doubt.
When we knock each other off, so to speak.
Well, if you're just talking about like top to bottom, then sure. I mean, you know, there's some good teams already being sent home, teams that could compete and win state championships in their respective sports.
It's too bad, but in a lot of ways, it reminds you of maybe the way it should be. In that, and we'll talk about this in a minute, but Ravenwood, Brentwood Baseball, I had the pleasure of going to that game, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I've never seen a bigger high school baseball crowd, ever.
That was a pretty cool atmosphere.
And if it's not elimination and maybe it takes away from it, it's too bad it was an elimination game.
Right.
But the atmosphere was, people on the trucks and
backed up to the fence,
climbing up poles and standing on garbage cans, like literally that was happening. Just to be able to see, it was incredible.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, every time a big play would happen, the electricity, man, it was
unreal.
Yeah, it really was.
Let's start off talking about some places where there hadn't been a lot of electricity. Ravenwood boys and Brentwood girls tennis.
Boat Race City.
Both with a 4-0 win over Hume Fogg, but I want you to just think about this. Here's an example of the dominance. Ravenwood boys, Patrick Delves, Jackson Stone, Tanner Wright, Davis Eastham. They all had wins, and in their 4 matches, they gave up a total of 5 games. The set scores were 6-1, 6-1, 6-0, 6-2, 6-1, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0. So bottom line is, Hume Fogg didn't win enough total games in 4 matches to win a set.
Not even close.
So I guess, I'm not trying to knock. It's just such dominance. Such dominance. Ravenwood boys, Brentwood girls will both be in the mix at that state tournament for sure.
I think they both win it.
I think there's a good chance. Collierville boys, pretty tough.
Let's go.
Obviously, we got to get there, but I like our chances. Ravenwood boys play Siegel. Brentwood girls play Central Magnet in the sectional. Fairview boys won the region tournament. And also a special shout out to Carter Terry and Sam Frank of Fairview for winning the individual tournament doubles event. So Fairview, once again, we keep saying this.
On the rise.
On the rise. Now, if they played Brentwood, Ravenwood, they probably don't beat them, but they don't play them.
Don't have to play them.
Different division.
Different division. Hey, I would love to know, how long did that Ravenwood boys Hume Fogg total, like how long, from beginning to end? That had to have been the fastest match. Would that be the right word?
Yeah, so I'm going to guess, just guessing, I'd say less than an hour.
It took you longer to get there.
Counting warm-ups.
Wherever it was.
Counting warm-ups.
That's impressive.
It is impressive, and no shame for Hume Fogg. You're just not beating them.
Ran into a buzzsaw.
Well, I remember being at Beach, and Beach and Hendersonville had great teams. But I can remember Dennis Walker, my good friend, who was the girls' basketball coach for years out there too, did a great job in tennis, had a double state champion. But team-wise, no. When we had to come over here and play, like Brent was like, okay, pack up the stuff, guys. Let's plan on the post-game banquet happening on the way home because we're getting beat.
Right. Let's go get pizza and celebrate the end of the season.
Hey, let's go to CC's. CC's out there in Rivergate. I mean,
$4.99, man.
That's right. Eat till you get sick.
Yes.
Anyway, tennis, great job. Tate, maybe our most dominant sport in the spring. Let's talk a little track sectional state, starting off with Brentwood boys and girls.
Well, the next closest team score was Ravenwood, with 77-50, and the girls had 140. I mean, they've always dominated. They've always been. This is domination. I don't know what else to say. Station Camp was 3rd place with 49, almost 100 team points. I mean,
and then the boys' side, 58 points.
I don't know if there's anything that can go wrong on that. Like, hey, don't count your chickens before they hatch.
The girls are winning, but you think the boys too?
I think the boys are too. But now the girls, this thing is going to be ugly.
Yeah.
It's really impressive. I mean, it is. Talk about firing on all cylinders. They're a machine. Man.
They are. They really are.
And then the boys, 142.50. Now Franklin, they came in. They're in second place with 84 points. Ravenwood at 80. But so two neat things there. One, the Brentwood boys are a machine. Two, the continue of the rise of the Franklin Admiral Track and Field program is pretty cool. But it's not going to be enough this year.
Well, when you look at these scores, especially on the boys' side, 4 points, the difference between second and third. That's kind of what you anticipate between first and second.
You would think.
But it was just, I mean, it's actually outrageous.
And I think they know we're not taking away from anything from second and third.
Of course
That's how
not.
good one is.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is. And I would go this far. You put Franklin and Ravenwood on the boys' side, second and third, and Ravenwood second place on the girls. Put them in any other sectional, and they win.
They'll win. That's right.
But
Tough.
just not this one.
But that's how it is in soccer and volleyball.
It is.
Baseball.
Now, one thing I like a lot of things about it, but I do appreciate this about track, just like wrestling, just like tennis. There's still an opportunity. You think about Gabrielle Boulay from Centennial, who just continues to dominate the 800. There's still an opportunity as an individual to do well at Spring Fling.
Yes. Yep, you're right. And I love that as the county too, because we know Brentwood girls and boys are going to perform well, but Boulay, we're going to see her on the podium, Halterman on the podium, Abby Miller on the podium, Reagan Grimes, come on.
Couple times on the podium.
Couple times on the podium. So Sophie Yount of Brentwood, she had the long jump and the 100 hurdles. It's going to be a who's who. You're right. It might as well just be the Wilco Spring Fling in track and field.
Well,
Thanks for coming.
On the boys' side, Tate, Hudson Allen, there's a name we keep seeing from Brentwood. Brody Chapman continues to win the 1632. Our man Bryce Sparks out of Franklin High. Great job, Bryce. I know you're out there watching on the 110 hurdles. There's a young man, and think about it, the multi-sport athlete. It's happened so many times with the multi-sport athletes. When do they peak? When it matters.
When it matters. Hey, and you can tell just by looking at him. A lot of these guys, but him being a football player, weight room guy, man, his body is, he's, you can tell. If you don't think strength and conditioning has something to do in track and field, then you're sadly mistaken, because those athletes now are starting to look like bodybuilders. You know? I mean, he's fun to watch.
James Patrick Franklin, another guy who's continues to do well. High jump, 300 hurdles. Mason Green, discus and shot put again for Ravenwood, and then Brentwood, of course, with the 4x relays. They win the 400 and 800.
Did in the girls as well.
Boys and girls.
Yep.
Hey, something else too, going back to Bryce. Still, I mean, I'm always impressed with Media Day, but still maybe top 5 I've seen. He was talking about the rivalry between Centennial. He was great.
Great personality.
He was great. Loved it. Double A, Tate. Talking sectionals. Page girls finished 3rd out of 18 teams, so nice showing there. On the boys' side, they finished 2nd out of 16 teams. The Fairview girls finished 4th, and then the Fairview boys finished 7th. Again, pretty good individual results. Lots of 2nd and 3rds. We did have Blair Visser of Fairview. We keep seeing her name. She wins the triple jump. Fairview wins the 4x8. Boys individual, Cole Combs, we continue to see his name, wins the discus. And then Nowensville goes over to the Blackman sectional, and they win the girls, no surprise, and then the boys finish 3rd. But look for the Nowensville. And there's a case, right? When Nowensville runs against Brentwood, you don't notice as much, but then they go just dominate that sectional.
Oh, yeah. Numbers is what's going to get them, I think, on the girls' side. But, yes, they just don't have quite the depth. But there'll be a couple of state championships on that side, on the girls' side for sure.
You think Elise and Claire have chances?
She's another one. Go look at her. I mean, explosive. Track and field athletes are fun to watch, man. Watching her on the high jump, that's impressive.
And Tate Matthews, as you guys know, you are a track guy. You love track.
Love it, man.
Track and field, you're into it.
Yes, heck yeah. Fun to watch. Fun to watch. State track meet's fun to watch.
It's fun. It's a
Our
lot
man
of fun.
Tribune will be there.
Well, hopefully we'll be positioned correctly. We don't get reprimanded.
That lady was a little aggressive, wasn't she?
Are you guys taking any pictures down here? I think I pulled out my
Camera
iPhone 3 and took one or two just so.
Well, we were standing right in front of the finish line. Without passes.
Well, I feel like we were okay, man.
Yeah, we were good. We'll be, hey, guess what? We'll be back.
We'll be in the way again. Baseball. Let's talk a little baseball, Tate. And as usual, things happen maybe towards the end that surprise you a little bit. Shout out to Coach Kirby and his team, because I don't know if going in, this was one of those teams that you expected that they would do what they did this year.
Yeah.
They just kind of quietly went about their business. I know Coach loves this team. They win the district championship with a 10-8 win over Ravenwood. They overcome a 6-2 deficit to win. It was their second win in 3 days over Ravenwood at Ravenwood. You know, a stat that really stood out to me in that game, I've not heard of this number, not in a game where the teams were both really good. 10 stolen bases?
That's a lot.
It's a ton.
Yeah. That's what's crazy to me. Those are two teams that could very easily be in the state tournament, and that's a lot of runs.
A lot of runs.
Against two really good, with two really good teams in it, 10-8. But yeah, that's a lot of stolen bases. But that's kind of how they are. Coach Kirby will tell you they don't have the big bats, the big guns that they've had in the past. But this team they put it in play. He uses the word. We're talking about this team, fighters. He uses that word a lot. And so yeah, get on base, advance it with the stolen bases. They're going to find a way to get runs. It's just a little bit different this year. And they got some really good pitching.
Would it be accurate to say, because you've been around, obviously, this league and these coaches longer than I have, but I really feel like this team is the personality of Coach Kirby.
Probably.
They're gritty.
Yeah.
They're tough. They'll fight you.
We're going to be in the weight room every day.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that they really fit his personality.
Although he was a pretty good baseball player. He was
sure.
I went to a baseball clinic one time, and he was the TABC 93 baseball player of the year.
Not surprised.
So, but yeah, of course, that's how he's built. He's an ex-football defensive coordinator. They're gonna get after you. So.
In that particular game, Devin Thrain with winning pitcher Jace Kirby, John Dippold, Logan Mikulak all with 2 hits and 2 RBI. Ravenwood, Blake Beavis 2 for 4 with a home run and 3 RBIs. I'm telling you, with Blake,
he's the big gun.
He really is. Is there a more complete, if you're talking about pitching and hitting, than Blake? Obviously, McIlvain's another one, but he just continues to get it done on the mound and at the plate.
Yeah, he's dang sure a next level prospect for sure. But yeah, that's probably fair if you're talking about both of them together. He's as good as anybody else at the very least. So, and the thing I love about it is he steps up big in big games.
He does. District 11, little different situation in that Brentwood and Franklin played in the championship game, but the winner had to win.
Correct.
You had to win to advance because Centennial was eliminated. They lost to Brentwood early, and then Franklin knocked them off to move to the championship. Franklin had to turn around and beat Brentwood twice. They weren't able to do it even once. Brentwood defeated them 5-4. They won 4 of 8 from Franklin this year, including 2 in the tournament. Ben Foster, winning pitcher. Scott Collins goes 2 for 2 for Brentwood. Franklin led this game 4-3 going into the bottom of the 6th, but 4 straight walks and a wild pitch. Brentwood ends up taking the lead 5-4. Hard to overcome when that happens. So I know it was disappointing for Coach Whidbey and his squad, but a good year to make that district final. Great job, but it wasn't enough because Centennial had already advanced based on the regular season.
Right. And we've talked about that a lot, but I did not think about this. So I guess that is Right. In the old ways, there's no doubt about it. The regular season champion needs to go on because of what you have to do that. You know, and then you have that many teams in the district. Now, with the way the districts are with, 5 teams?
Right.
Might be time to look at that again. But
Yeah, because think about it. Let's go down that road. Now, I didn't even think about this till you just brought it up.
I didn't either. One of them brought it up to me.
Well, think about this. So if you do the bracket like a bracket should be done, it's 1 playing the winner of 4 or 5. So 4 and 5 would have to get in a dogfight just to play 1, which means they're probably going to be throwing their second best pitcher. 1 just has to beat 4 or 5 who just played a game to make the final, and then they're in. You're right. It probably makes sense that you don't do that with the regular season champion now, just because it would take a heck of an upset for 4 or 5 to have to win a game and then still beat the 1 seed who's playing their first game.
Right.
So you've heard that brought up with coaches,
Them. Oh, yeah.
and they're maybe thinking about that.
Well, that was the answer. I said, well, don't you think that's the way it ought to be? And they said, well, the old way, I think absolutely. Because of, you had to go through, 24 games or
Right.
21 games, whatever, to get that top seeding. Well, yeah, that ought to be worth something. But so, anyways, that's what they were saying. But this way, the tournament's not as tough as it used to be. Regular season's not quite as tough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would say this, when it was all said and done in both districts, the top 2 seeds in the year advanced.
Which I did not think that. Not because I didn't. I just thought something would happen.
Right.
That's rare that happens.
If you look at the region tournament, Tate, so now we're on to the region. Centennial ends up being the 2 seed, playing at number 1 seed Summit. Ravenwood, the 2 seed, playing at number 1 Brentwood. But the 2 seeds win, but they were the champions during the year, so it worked out like the season. So Centennial goes to Summit. They win 7-3, a very impressive win for Coach Boffman and his group. It was scoreless going into the 5th inning. Then Centennial breaks out for 4 runs, started with a Ryan Connolly double, ended with a Ryan Sweeney 2-run single. Centennial's on their way. And what about that pitching performance, Tate, from Eli Lamb, the junior for Centennial?
Multiple sources say pitched a gem of a game. Obviously, they got the win 7-3 and 5 perfect innings, but they said he brought his A game stuff and they just couldn't hit it.
5 perfect innings. So we're saying the first 15 batters he faced, he got them all out. Wasn't an error, wasn't a walk.
Right.
Perfect through 15 batters.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Well, and again, look at the people he was throwing against. But, yep, they knew that was going to be a tough game for them if he threw his A game and he threw his A game. And then that coupled with unearned runs, which uncharacteristic of them, ended up being their downfall. But don't lose sight of they got beat by a really good team.
They did. A shout out to Brady Perez of Summit, who broke up that perfect game with a leadoff home run in the 6th. By then, it was really too late the way he was pitching. Ravenwood Brentwood, we talk about that crowd, how unbelievable it was. Battle of the Woods, an elimination game of the region tournament. Ravenwood jumps out to an early 4-0 lead, but no surprise, it comes down to the end. It's 4-3. You got runners on base as the game ends. Miles Denton comes in and gets the save for Ravenwood after Blake Beavis threw a heck of a game for Ravenwood. They get the win. I did want to give a shout out because I think he deserves it. End of a high school career, not only in baseball, but athletically for Aaron Walton. I think about a guy like Walton, and he's what's right about high school athletics.
I agree.
And was a pretty good basketball
That's
player.
what I was. He could have been a starter on the basketball team. Would have, No, I can remember a few years ago, and this is when there was some good ones. A couple of them, one of them's playing in the SEC right now. The other one's playing baseball in the SEC. I can remember sitting in the PE office. It was Coach Moore, Coach Brock. Somebody else was in there, and Coach Moore said the best athlete in this school is Aaron Walton. At the time, I knew who he was, but didn't quite. You know what I'm saying? He was sophomore. I think that was a fair statement. He was the best athlete in the school, and there's a lot of good ones. So, yeah, you hate, but that's what's great about that. Let's go back through the years of the Battle of the Woods in baseball and think about the big names. Those three right there, they stand right up at the top with all of them. Beavis, Denton, Walton. No wonder it was such a great game, you know. We had some great baseball players.
I feel like Ravenwood had some good karma because who was standing up right up against the fence, pulling for the Raptors?
Denton,
Teddy Craig.
Mr. May. Well, I was going to say
he
this
was right
later.
there in the middle of it. And what I love about Coach, because I think sometimes what happens with the ex-coach, he's rooting for the team, but you almost think it's made up.
No, he's Ravenwood.
Like you're going, I bet he's hoping they don't do quite as well because he's not the. I promise you, Teddy Craig is all Ravenwood all the time. He was fired up for that win.
Well, we know. I mean, this is who he wanted to replace him. Kind of tried to do as much as he could to make sure that would be who, you know? So, I mean, he wanted the program to be in good hands. But I was thinking about this on the way over here. Don't want to count our chickens before they hatch. But if talk about a good baseball program. If Ravenwood makes it to the state tournament this year, Kirby made it to the state tournament, Levon made it to the state tournament, Teddy made it to the state tournament, and now Coach Grigali, if he
Sounds
can
like
make
their football program.
good baseball.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they've had great coaches. That school, and I can say it now because Dr. Qualls is out of the position. You guys add him or send him an email. He told me forever, I was the Franklin coach, something about that Ravenwood school.
How many times did he
and
try to get
athletic
you
programs.
to? I mean, the basketball job wasn't open, but I mean, whenever something would come open, he'd always tell you that, wouldn't he? I'm telling you, if the Ravenwood, and you know, I don't know if now's the time, but if the Ravenwood ever comes open,
It's a special place.
they're
it
all
is.
good, yeah.
And all the schools are, right? But they've got that mojo about them.
But think about that. I mean, the school's not that old.
No.
Now, they've also had more turnover in that position
Sure.
than some schools that size, but still, man, there's something about them in that baseball program. They know how to play.
The book, for those of you that are
Readers?
readers, scholars, business people, there's a book by Jim Collins called Good to Great. And the bottom line, the best organizations, you replace the leader and it still moves right along.
Well said. Well, and I think it started off the right way from the beginning, too. And I think he'll fool you with the dad jimmits and the hey buddy and the blue jeans and the New Balance coaching shoes. But Jack Daniels, sharp guy, and I think he set that athletic program up the right way. They didn't play varsity that first year and get annihilated. He identified some good young talent. I think the school was set up, as you know, who we see every year. The first basketball coach was Rodney Thweet.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who he was. Brian Rector, come on. I think it was set up the right way.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think that was a big part of it, too.
I agree. Hey, want to shout out both eliminated, but Page ends their year in the semifinals of the region, 7-2 loss to Upperman. Fairview 6-3 to Loretta, spelled Loretto, pronounced Loretta.
If you're down there, it is.
19 years since Fairview had made it to the region semis, so shout out to them.
Spring sports.
for making
Everything spring sports-wise is on the rise at Fairview. And for those that don't pay attention, no shame in losing to Loretta, and especially in
No.
baseball.
And they had a 2-0 lead
Yeah.
early, just couldn't.
And I hate that for Page. I thought this was the year,
Yeah.
but Upperman's good
Well,
too.
sometimes it happens when you don't expect it too. I'm thinking about Ravenwood Baseball. I think a lot of people felt like last year
Yeah.
Ravenwood Baseball didn't work out. This year they thought good chance too, but they weren't talked about quite as much. You're going to look up and they may end up being the state champion before it's over, like you talked about.
Yep.
Let's talk a little softball, Tate. We'll start with the district tournament, District 11 at Centennial. Franklin comes back and beats Centennial 6-3 and 10-8 to win the district championship. And this week's gem, Tate, Franklin had lost 3 times to Centennial. So you lose to someone 3 times, and you have to beat them 2 in a row at their place, and they do it. I'd say the Vegas odds weren't on that happening.
They were not. However, I know a guy who always subscribed to, well, you hate to have to beat somebody 4 times in a row.
Yes.
5 times in a row. Well, why not? They beat them. Maybe
Right.
there's a reason.
Right, that's right. That's
But
right.
yeah, that was of all the softball programs, I think that's safe. Franklin definitely has taken the biggest step this year in their growth as a program.
Was it 99, 95, last time they won a district title?
Possibly.
95, so I think back to 95. It doesn't sound that long ago when you're older, but then I think to myself, I was 24 in 95.
Coach Johnson was coaching at Grassland
That's right.
Middle.
I'm not 24 anymore, Tate, so yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Our girl, they got some good players too. Sydney Harris.
Yeah, tough.
I'll take her on any team, anywhere, any sport.
No question. Abby O'Hagan, 22 strikeouts in those 2 games. Lily Ernest, 5 for 8, a home run and 3 RBIs in those 2 games. Lila Gardner with a big 2-run double to put the Admirals up 7-4 in the 4th inning of Game 2. Lauren Johnson hits a 2-run home run for Centennial, but it was really too much. Ernest then drove in Jean Costello, multi-sport athlete that we talk about a lot. You mentioned Sydney Harris. She hits a bomb. Final margin 10-8. So I think that one was a surprise to a lot of people based on what happened in the season, based on they had to beat them twice, based on it was at Centennial. But Coach Whidbey and the squad gets it done.
They did. There's a but coming here, though, isn't there?
Yes, it's definitely coming here in just a little bit. District 12. Let's talk about District 12 first, though. Ravenwood. That's where the tournament was played. Nolensville with a 9-4 win over Summit. I think you and I and anybody out there, hindsight's 20/20 now, but Nolensville and Summit have been the best 2 teams this year.
This was the matchup I wanted to see.
They happened to be in the district final. That game went over 2 days because of weather. Summit was up 2-1 before the postponement and 3-2 early on day 2. And then Nolensville just explodes for 7 runs over the last 2 innings. They win 9-4. Ryland Smith, the more things change, the more they stay the same. 12 strikeouts and 4 for 4 from the plate. I got a feeling we might be seeing Ryland at the Wilco's this year. Think there's a chance?
If she's not, we need to check the voting.
Paige Dickinson, Addie Lichty with 3 hits. Nolensville, 18 hits, 12 on day 2, which is saying something. Lily Kate Richards can pitch.
No doubt. Boy, something. I think Summit's sitting there kicking themselves. Why'd that? What was it? Lightning, I guess.
Apparently.
Well, I bet they wish that hadn't happened.
Yeah, we had the wind. Yeah, the weather was horrible. Couldn't
Isn't that
do it.
crazy though? Like, what was the difference?
Right, the next day. Crazy. Summit, here's what's odd too. They have 3 home runs off of Ryland Smith, and they still only score 4 runs. Easley, Hunter, Canada, all with home runs. It wasn't enough. Obviously, both still advanced to the region tournament. And listen, you and I both would have said, you go to the region, if we were taping this show before that matchup, we would have both said it's going to be Summit and Nolensville in the region final. We would have said that, right?
That'd been my guess.
Well, it happened with Summit. They beat Franklin 7-0. It was a great game by Abby O'Hagan for the first 4 innings, but just too much offense for Summit. After that, Lily Kate Richards gets 7 strikeouts. Tarek Shear with 2-run home run. Summit wins 7-0. But then you move over to Nolensville Centennial, and Coach Serban's squad comes up with a 4-1 win. And this is no disrespect to that Centennial team. They won the district regular season. That's an upset to knock off Nolensville and Ryland Smith.
I'm going with the best pitcher every time in softball.
Yes.
Yeah, that was huge. And
Great win for that program. And he cares about, Coach Serban cares about Centennial softball.
no doubt, there's no way they've ever been this far in softball.
No,
No way.
no.
And again, beat off a team that we were beat out a team that we were talking about. We thought had a good chance to get to the state tournament and even win it.
Yeah. I would agree with that. But now Centennial, I think it would be so neat. Obviously, we want Summit to make it too. It would be really neat for Centennial to make that state tournament.
Yes, that would be.
And they've got some bats now. They can hit.
Well, and obviously played really good defense, holding Nolensville to 1. So, yeah, I mean, hey, they won all you can do is win your district, right? You can only beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. They won the district. Now here they are, got a chance to win the region. Hey, man, I see no reason why they can't do that and then go on to the state tournament.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
And you're right. Coach Sermon's done a great job.
He has. Let's talk some soccer to finish up today, Tate. District championship, I had the pleasure to watch this one. Franklin defeats Brentwood in PKs. It was 2-2 at the end of regulation. Brentwood had goals from Aiden Parker, Reed McAdams, Franklin from Davis Long, and A.J. Elliott. Brentwood had survived the semifinal with Ravenwood. They win 3-0 in PKs. And I always say this. The soccer coaches generally hate penalty kicks. I love it.
Right. Well, you're a fan.
I absolutely love it. People are on the field, and I guess
I think you would have liked it as a coach too.
I think it feels kind of random who wins. It feels like a little bit of luck. I guess there's a lot of guessing from the goalie, and maybe the shot on goal just goes awry for whatever reason, and it feels like maybe it's not a pure win. But I'm telling you, I love when it goes to PKs. Maybe it shows I don't know anything.
No, it's exciting, but what do you take away from that? First thing when I saw this jumped out to me.
I take away, first of all, Brentwood won 4-1 April 19th. That's Franklin is definitely improving, and it also tells me that we've got a chance for a Franklin-Brentwood matchup in the state championship. Is any of that what you were telling?
Yeah, that, but also, no, all of that. But come, and you know what I think of Coach P. I don't know that anybody, I don't think nobody does it quite like Franklin soccer. All year long we've been talking about it'll be Brentwood's going to run through this thing. And then come tournament time, I feel like Franklin always knocks somebody off. Come tournament time, man, they're killers.
Burgoyne does it right.
And then my man Davis Long, he's got to be the best basketball, soccer, two-sport guy there is.
No question. And he sat out a year, right?
Yeah.
And he jumps back in, and he's one of their better players. So great performance there by Franklin. Great atmosphere that night. Independence, shout out to them. They win 12 AAA, 2-1 over Columbia Central. Luke Tedder with 2 goals. That sets up Brentwood at Indy, Columbia Central at Franklin. And just like softball, I would have been wrong by guessing this, but I'm going to guess it goes back to Brentwood Franklin for the region championship, but doesn't mean it's definitely going to happen.
No, I think Independence probably got a better shot than Columbia Central, but I think you're right. I think it's Brentwood Franklin, and then more than likely it'll be Coach Cook and the Bison of Station Camp and the Commandos of Hendersonville, which that can go either way. I can see, if you like soccer, those will be 2 good games to go to. But yeah, I think we got a good chance to get 2 there. That'd be awesome.
Region championship, Fairview, want to mention them as well. They get the title, 2-1 win over Sycamore. Again, today's show theme, Fairview and spring sports. Listen, I've seen this since I've been in the district as a coach and in this position as district AD. If you back up 6 years ago, I've been in the district 6 years, Fairview athletics 6 years ago is not what it is now.
No.
In that short period of time, it's really impressive. And I credit, Coach Hughes, to me, he made Fairview relevant in football. I feel like Coach Bubba Derrick, kind of inched it forward. Not even inched it, they made a huge jump. And then guys like Coach McCoy, Coach Sizemore. There's a lot going really well at Fairview, and you're seeing it in the spring sports right now.
Well, and I think you also have a principal who athletics is important to.
No question.
How long's Dr. Jones been there? Not much longer than 6 years, I would think. I would think that's a part of it as well. But it's fun to watch.
It is. It really is.
I think it's the yellow.
And what's that?
It gives them, Coach Dr. Qualls, PMS 103 or 108, gives them a little extra mojo.
They love it.
And nobody embraces it more than Coach Hughes. They'll have yellow helmets, jerseys, pants.
It's great.
They're the NFL color rush, man.
It's great. It's great. Tate, it's exciting. Next time we're together, we're going to be talking spring fling. And listen, next week you and I will be out of the little spring fling. Checking it out, checking out the local restaurant. Maybe we'll do a restaurant review of what we...
I would love that. You just let me know. I think that would be great. There's some good ones up there.
There are.
We're going to take suggestions, or we're just going to do our own?
No. We totally do our own thing. No suggestions allowed.
I know one place we're going.
Sounds fun. Tate, looking forward to it. Before you know it, we'll be wrapping up the year. We've got some more state titles coming up for WCS. And then we get ready for the ultimate event, celebrating our athletes come June 21st. Already been talking to the folks at Copy Solutions, getting the programs together and the awards ordered. Walker Chevrolet, obviously, helping us out with that. Can't wait for the Wilcos at the factory, June 21st.
Saw some of the categories. Goodness gracious.
Man,
Tough competition.
tough competition. Tate, till next time.
Have a great week.
And we'll see you next time. And thank you for joining us again and every week for Sports Connection.